Jam! Hello again and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is episode 476. See, doesn't feel as good, doesn't roll off the tongue so well. Doesn't feel as round. Of the Mana Pool, brought to you, as always, by whatever the hell we feel like bringing to you. That doesn't make sense at all, does it?
It almost did.
It almost did, and you know what? That's good enough for us.
8/9 of it made sense.
Is that like 476? So I am Chewy, failing miserably at being funny, and also the lead dork. And I am joined by these other dorks. Hi, dorks.
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm the lead rambler, tangent master, and I will try to make up for Chewy's lack of funny with my own lack of funny.
I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and the game lore guy.
I actually didn't mean to do that. Sorry, go ahead.
That's a lie. I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and the game lore guy, and I will make up for Chewy and Brian's lack of funny with my lack of humor.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group, and I will make up for my lack of all this stuff by being the person who's the lack of remembering things correctly.
Oh.
As I just showed just a second ago.
I think we've got it all covered then.
Yep.
I was going to say that...
I won't be able to do a dang thing.
that the other day, Carrie and I watched a couple episodes of Fuller House on Netflix, because we both watched Full House when we were younger, and I hadn't really gotten around to watching it, and wasn't not going to go into this for too long. I actually wasn't really all that impressed. But it was kind of funny to watch a show with a laugh track again, because when's the last time you watched a show with a laugh track?
Huh.
Wow, it has a laugh track?
Yeah.
Well, that's sad.
Okay, or it might be in front of a live studio audience. I don't believe they mentioned that, but like because the whole show is basically made up of like cameos of people that have been on the show before. The first like 10 minutes of the show where like somebody pops in and they're like, "I'm here," and everybody claps wildly. So got used to that.
It was a Netflix show, so that means it probably was not done in front of a live audience.
Probably not. In which case, yes, it was a laugh track, which makes the times when the applause is even more fervent a little more sad, because somebody had to program that. The show itself, they are super heavy-handed with, "Oh, look, this is something somebody said in the original show. Just laugh now." And I'm like, huh? I just want to enjoy the show, like, for the story, and it won't let me. So.
Yeah, the reactions I've heard to it are basically split between "this is great" and "this is vile necromancy."
Damn.
There have been quite a few episodes, or at least the ones that I saw, where it's a lot of nostalgia going back to, "Do you remember when we used to do this and this?" And it's like, okay, I understand you wanting to think back to, when this was great and the show was sort of at its peak, but at the same time, you guys got a second chance to do more with this. You guys can come up with your own independent material without having to refer back to the original series.
Yeah. So now last year,
this concludes our episode of Fuller Housecast. Thank you all so very much for listening. And how rude.
How rude.
How rude.
So, no, we're here to talk about magic news, because we're the Magic News podcast. Is that right?
Well, I mean, there wasn't another Magic News podcast this week.
No, because of the eclipse. That was the magic news.
Well, I mean, the eclipse was part of it.
Yeah.
So, we should do this first, because I want to get it out of the way, and I'm very excited. So,
Yes.
For the eclipse, as we mentioned before, I think, myself and Bill and Clues, and Bill's friend Cassandra, excuse me, and Clues' wife, Mrs. Dr. Clues, all ended up in Greenville, South Carolina at Clues' aunt's house to watch the eclipse in the path of totality. And I had to wait. So let's see, Bill picked me up at 6 in the morning. Longtime listeners will know I am not a morning person. I don't like to get up at 8, much less 6. So, that was not good. But, it takes about 3 hours to get to Greenville from my apartment. The return trip took about 6.
Yeah, my return trip took twice as long also. And other people I've heard from, they gave figures that were pretty much exactly twice as long as it should have taken them too.
Yeah.
I'm just glad it wasn't longer. I didn't go anywhere. I'm just glad it wasn't longer for you guys.
Ours was all front loaded too, because once we got past Charlotte, everything was normal. Which means it packed 3 hours worth of driving in the first, hour and a half. I'm sorry, 5 hours worth of driving in the first hour and a half of the drive. Because once we hit the highway in Greenville, it stopped. As soon as we were, okay, totality's over, we hung out for 10 minutes, we're like, okay, let's just bounce. And then, no, everybody stop. Just stop. Just shut up and stop. So yeah, but it was so worth it. It was so worth it. For anyone who is nearby the Path of Totality in 2024, I cannot recommend it enough. Clues told us ahead of time that he's heard, this is his first Totality too, he's heard it described as a quasi-religious experience. And I don't do that sort of thing. So I laughed at Clues. Clues was right. It was a quasi-religious experience. And I'm seriously considering driving my ass up to Ohio or New York or somewhere far, far away in 7 years to do it again.
I think Indianapolis might be a little closer than those other places.
Possibly.
I know it's passing through there because my cousins were talking about it later.
But then I'll have to, be in Indianapolis and
Right.
My family lives in Indianapolis.
See?
Although they may not be in 7 years. They better not be because they've talked about moving down here a number of times. And right now we have them on the schedule for 2020. Literally, we have said, are you moving? And they're like, yes. So
Nice.
Mom needs to get in a position where she can retire first. So
Yeah, so Clues' aunt was in Greenville. I got a message from him yesterday or the day before that said, hey, Jen's aunt lives in somewhere up there in the Path of Totality. Megan and Casey, my favorite lesbians, live in the middle of nowhere in upstate New York in the Path of Totality. So I have options.
Cool.
So it's going to be cool. And seriously, everybody, I cannot recommend it enough. It was absolutely amazing. Mike, how did you do?
It was great. I was up in, beautiful Andrews, North Carolina, very tiny town. The town where my mom and all her brothers and sisters grew up. And one of my uncles and one of my aunts, they live out there. So I got to stay with family. And the exact center of the Totality line passed right over Andrews. The exact center passed right over the middle school. And there were some NASA scientists camped out there to take some readings and whatnot. And the population of that general area was easily, times 5 or more during that day than it usually is, just with all the people who were visiting. I wasn't in town. I decided to go with my cousins to a spot up on one of the peaks surrounding the valley where the town is. We were up at an old, mostly abandoned forest ranger lookout station up above Tatham Gap. And some people had gone up to the top of the tower to view everything. I didn't go up because, I and several other people were worried about how many people could safely go up there because the Ranger Tower was built in the 50s and hadn't been used since the 70s. And normally there's a little gate at the top of the ladder that keeps people from getting up there. But the week before, 2 of my cousins may or may not have clambered up around the side and unbolted it from the other side. So the people couldn't get up there. So that's why they were. And somehow the cops and the forest rangers didn't notice something was wrong. Or maybe they did and it was just too late to fix. But yeah, no amount of looking at photographs or watching video footage of a total eclipse can match actually being there and being able to see for yourself everything else that goes on during the process. The way the shadows get all weird and distorted around the edges, the way the light changes and gets that odd color like a sunset after
Except
a
not.
rainstorm when there's still a bunch of cloud cover and everything is this weird orangey color. the way the nature of the background noise changes when all the animals get confused.
Yeah.
And then just seeing the effect in the sky for yourself with your own eyes. It was really impressive. I stuck around town for a while. My reasoning was that I would wait for the initial crush of traffic to clear out, and it did, but it hadn't finished clearing out of all of the roads farther downstream when I was on the road, and then also some wrecks started happening that made things worse. So yeah, it should have taken 4 hours to get back to Greensboro, but it took 8.
Good Lord.
It was pretty bad. But worth it. Well worth it.
So yeah, what Mike says is true. The light got weird as more and more of the sun was covered. And I've been under a solar eclipse before, but never a total one. And so I didn't notice it as much back then. But so your whole life, when it gets dark, it's because the sun was way up there and it's moved down. The light has turned more red and it just dips behind things. So what you don't get the light getting dimmer, you get the light turning red and then going away.
Yeah.
But with the sun straight up, what you get is the amount of light gets less, but it's still directly ahead and it's not turning redder. And it messes with your freaking head because every day for your entire existence, it's worked this way, now it's working that way. And I think it was Bill who pointed out, it's like someone just took the brightness button and just changed it. So once it got about the sun got about halfway covered, it was really noticeable that things were just weird, and it got worse.
I did not leave Thomasville, so I was not direct somewhere where I think I was. I could observe complete totality. I also didn't have glasses. I didn't know if my schedule, unfortunately, would let me see it. But so I was at home when during that hour, and I was in the living room, and it just got darker and darker in the room. And I knew I shouldn't look at it, but there's still that temptation. And from my living room is at the north end of the house, and where the sun was, one of the reasons that room got so dark was because it was basically at the exact opposite from where the sun was. So I felt myself still drawn toward the front. You know, I have got that big window at the front of the house. And I was like, And so I I put my hand over the top of my eyes and I went outside. And I'm not blind. I didn't look directly at the sun. But it was weird because even though it was dark, it wasn't like nighttime dark. And what little light there was actually seemed to be brighter. I don't know how to describe it. It felt like what little light there was, the ambient light almost felt more intense, even though it was darker. And I don't know if that's some effect of the radiation or how that works. I'm not a scientist.
It's probably because it had an odd color to it. That's
probably.
Yeah, I think your brain notices it more because it's not right.
Right. And it was so quiet. Like it felt like everything in nature had just like stopped. And it was really freaky. And it was also super hot. It was like 90 degrees out. And yet there's no sun. And yet I can still, it's not pitch black. And yet it, like you said, your whole life, it's one thing. And then it was something else. I never saw the complete totality. And I'm sure I should have gotten glasses or something. But, I'm okay with that. But even just the experience that I had
You weren't in the path of totality.
No, but I didn't get glasses to see the
eclipse and just see the part of it that was visible.
I did not look at the sun, but I still saw a lot of the rest of the sky, and it was freaky.
It was very weird.
I'm glad I took the time to do that, even without having left town. I'm glad I took the time to see it or see what I saw, because it just felt odd.
Yeah, and that's really the only way to put it. It's weird. It's wrong. As more and more of the sun was covered, I remembered something that I learned a long time ago and shouted it out to everybody. Look at the shadows coming through the trees, because you get lots of little pinholes, essentially, and everything all the shadows, instead of being normal, they were all crescent shaped.
Yeah,
And
that was cool.
I took a bunch of pictures of those before and after the eclipse and put them on Facebook. Just because it's not the sort of thing you think of when someone mentions an eclipse. And also, once totality hit, we got the 360-degree quote-unquote sunset.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's one that had never occurred to me. Clues was telling us about it. And I'm like, oh! Because you're not really seeing sunset in every direction. What you're seeing is I'm guessing, the edge of the shadow of the moon in every direction.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So it looked like there was a sunset all around us, which was weird. And as soon as totality hit, the cicadas picked up and just started going. I'm like, you stupid bugs. And they stopped about a minute, maybe two, after totality ended. They were like, well, that was a short night. Pack it in, boys. It was weird. But you always see pictures of total eclipse with the corona around it and all of that. And in my head, all these years I've thought, those are, filtered or touched up or something. But no, that's exactly what it looks like in the sky. I was blown away by how exactly like you expect it to look like it looks like.
Granted, those cameras that take those photos do have to have a filter on them. Otherwise, even the light from the eclipse sun will blow them out. But yeah, you see the same thing with your own eyes that you do in the photos, except it's better.
It's way better. Like, once we were all staring up with our eclipse glasses, once totality was seconds away, and then it just winked out. And I was like, oh. And I lifted the glasses up, and So yeah, we didn't get to catch any of the shadow snakes, which Clues was like, science can't currently explain those, so look for them. And we were busy looking up. None of us spotted any of that. I don't even know what shadow snakes are.
They're these little wavy bands of shadow that you see just kind of across the ground. They're really faint. We were able to see some on the dirt path where we were standing.
We didn't even look down. We
Not
were
a
busy.
priority.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a lot of alternating between looking up and then looking around at all the other weird stuff going on.
So yeah, seriously though, cannot recommend it enough. The next one in 2024 is going to start in North America, down in Texas, and work its way up through like Indiana and Ohio and New York and Maine, I think, is where it's going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
So, highly recommend it. So, this has been our episode of Eclipse Cast. Thank you all so very much for listening, and don't look at the sun, damn it. Now, magic. Seriously though, quasi-religious experience. It got a little dusty after the eclipse, I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, when I was back at my uncle's house later, we were watching some news, and he happens to get some Atlanta stations. I think mostly because he used to live in Atlanta, so that's why he keeps up with the news there. And there was, during part of the segment, they were interviewing some people who were up on top of a high-rise in downtown Atlanta seeing the partial eclipse. And their reaction was, yeah, that was really cool. This was a fun day. And then they had someone in another location in South Carolina for people who saw the total eclipse. And their reaction was like, that was amazing, and I cried a little,
Yeah. That is different. My old man was like, I don't understand. It's going to get dark for a while. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be able to change your mind on that one, old man, so just never mind. But anyway, so let's talk about magic. So whose idea was this? Was it Brian?
Yep. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Look, Brian's getting choked up. He wasn't even there.
A little bit. So, as of when we're recording this, we are a couple hours away from the release of Commander 2017. I almost said 27. No, that's coming out in a little while, but not today. The new Commander product. And the last couple of weeks we've been talking about the previews, and it felt right to do a story circle. What's a story circle?
Well, it's an enchantment where you choose a color. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I kind of am.
Hey, Mike, what's a story circle?
A story circle
Aw.
is when we pick a card. We start with a card, and then we go around our circle in air quotes because I guess we could be sitting in a very bizarrely shaped circle if someone zoomed way out and drew one really crappily on a map.
Working on it.
Anyway, so we sit in that circle and go around and throw out ideas for cards that could be used to build a deck around the one or involving the one that we started with. Apparently, we used to do it slightly differently, according to a comment that Magnor Creole left on one of our old episodes. He's going through the archives.
Are you guys enjoying? Are you guys enjoying Andrew's random comments?
Yeah, it gives
on
some
old
really
episodes?
I am.
It's really interesting insight.
But I didn't see this one. So what did we do differently before?
He didn't specify, but apparently we did it kind of differently. I know that we used to build 60-card decks.
Yes.
For the story circle, but lately we've just been doing commander decks because it just lends itself better to the structure of the story circle itself.
Right. The inspiration for Story Circle kind of came from one of those camp games where you sit around a fire and somebody's got the story stick and they tell part of a story and then they pass it to the next person. And the next person is not allowed to undo anything that the previous people have said. You have to build upon it. Mm. So here it was, you start naming cards and then you have to build upon what people have done. And you're not allowed to just say, well, I don't like what that person did. So you still have to give something that would feed on what they have done or take the deck in a different direction. But you can't just say, well, that was weird and ignore it. You've got to use it. And I agree with Mike. I do think it does lend itself to Commander. First of all, we just play. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I play more Commander now, or that's where most of my deck building is directed to than 60 card. But also, it lends itself better to the one-ofs. So
yeah, and it gives us some more structure to play around with. Like I know some of those early story circles, like on the second or third go around, for some reason Brian would add a fourth color, and we're all like, "What?"
Every damn time.
But I can't do that here because the color identity is set by the commander. So.
And yeah, I'm glad Mike brought that up because I was about to. I'm like, part of the reason we switched to Commander was so Brian couldn't do this anymore.
Or so you think.
He's like, I know we're doing a Grixis deck, but it really needs green. And we're like, come on, man.
Yeah. I still stand by that, though. So there are a number of interesting commanders in the new, or potential commanders in the new Commander set. And the Eminence ones tend to take some priority because they're the ones that you get the full size, the blowed up versions of. The rest of the deck will work with the other commanders. What's up?
Blowed up.
The bigger version of that card. That is the commander they kind of anticipate that you'll use. But there are some other interesting legendary creatures here. So I thought we'd take a look at them and do one, maybe two, but we'll start with one story circle based around one of these other commanders. And the trick is it has to be a new one, so none of the reprints. Although, again, we're talking about a new card. Like Miri is a potential one because, yes, Miri has been printed before, but not Miri Weatherlight Duelist. So I'm saying one of the new commander card.
Unless I'm counting wrong, there are 16 new legendary creatures.
Really, that many?
Is that including the Eminence or not including the Eminence?
Including the Eminence.
Oh, okay.
And including monocolor.
Oh, there are monocolored ones?
Actually, just one. Balin Wandering Knight, yeah.
See, I filtered by multicolor because I didn't realize that they're... Okay.
But he's kind of boring, so we'll just ignore him.
And actually, listeners, you get to hear this real time because we were having a brief discussion about this before we started recording, but we have not landed on one that we want to do. So if there's a commander you want us to do, send us an email, except don't because
it's already too late.
Yeah.
So that means we're not doing Arabo Roar of the World. We're not doing Edgar Markov. We're not doing Inala Archmage Ritualist. And we're not doing the Ur-Dragon.
Yes.
Now.
Because they basically already have decks built around them.
Right.
And those are very, 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 very tribal, whereas these others don't necessarily have to. So, go ahead, Chewy.
So, since we brought up Miri is boring.
Mm-hmm.
For the purposes of this.
I think she's interesting, but I do think she's very straightforward with her effect. She's not Johnny-tastic.
Yeah. So like...
Play a deck with creatures in it.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about eliminating some of these, I would probably also eliminate Lycia, Sanguine Tribune, because I feel like we have already done decks in this vein before. Mike has submitted, what's that sigil where you pay 3 life to put a counter on something? From Scourge, the black.
Was it Unspeakable Symbol?
Yeah, Mike tends to like Unspeakable Symbol and has used it before in other decks.
Because it's awesome.
Yeah, so I was going to say, well, I feel like we've done things with this kind of effect in mind before, so unless anybody else felt strongly, I was going to say I think there's more interesting choices, so I would say let's put that away.
I mean, Lichia is very interesting, but we've done that exercise before. I think possibly multiple times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So...
there's Kess, the Dissident Mage, who is just played deck with spells.
Yeah. During each of your turns, you may cast an instant sorcery spell from your graveyard. Basically, almost give it flashback.
Yeah.
And while that could be interesting, it's fairly straightforward in its application. Any others that we feel like are just really like, maybe, maybe not? I don't know how I feel about Nazan, Revered Bladesmith, because once again, it's not tribal, but it's
play equipment. Deck.
Play equipment, right? And you should probably include the hammer. You don't have to, but it's the one that the hammer likes him, and he likes the hammer. I mean, I think it's a little less linear than some of the ones we've already talked about, but I think it's not as open as some of these other possibilities. So I don't know that I would say Nazan.
Excuse me, I'm dying.
Do you feel like Taigam Ojutai Master, the blue-white version of Taigam, is close enough to cast that it's kind of the same thing where you want to play sorcery and instant cards, or do you think it's different enough that we should consider it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
So, like, Okagachi. Okagachi is a disappointment in so many ways because, like, I understand I think the deal here is they just wanted another 5-color commander. Because we've expressed our, with Okagachi on the last 2 episodes. But from this standpoint of building a deck around it, it's hit people with it.
Well, and yeah, it only even triggers when you hit people with it, which means it doesn't trigger on any other creatures that you control. This deck is entirely centered around play Okagachi and attack with it.
Yeah, which means it's not really centered around that. It's just what you do with Okagachi. So,
Yeah. And I mean, you can take the deck in a completely different direction, but then you might as well have any other 5-color commander, you know?
Exactly.
So, right.
So that leaves us, after knocking out all of those, with Marisol Militia. Militia is probably another one that's kind of meh.
I think it's got more potential than some of the others we've talked about.
True.
But keep going. Marisol Militia.
Taigam Sidisi's Hand, which is weird. And I'm not sure about Wasatora either. Play this 5/4 flying trample, hit people with it.
Get cats.
Get cat dragon. That's adorable. Oh my god, I'll die.
Yeah. I think the 3 that have personally, because I'm sure somebody listening loves some of the cards that we have eliminated, and I'm not saying any of these are bad cards.
They're just bad for this purpose.
I think for our purposes, the three that have the most interest to me are the three you just mentioned, and not Wasatora, the cat dragon. I think each of the other three has some potential for shenanigans, which I like. I feel like there's a way to make them interesting. So, of those three, which one? Why don't we just start with which one interests us the most? Chewy, of these three, which one do you want to do? If we only got to do one today, which one would you want to do?
Well, I mean, Marisol, duh.
Okay, Mike.
That was the top pick, yeah.
Okay, Dirk.
I'd say Marisol.
All right, then let's make it unanimous. So, I was wondering if Mike was going to say Sidisi's hand. But maybe we'll get to that one later. So,
Maybe.
So Chewy, what does Marisol do?
All right, for 1, a blue, a black, and a red, Marisol is a 4/4 human wizard. When Marisol the Pretender enters the battlefield, you may exile an artifact or creature card from your hand or graveyard and put a cage counter on it. Okay. Marisol the Pretender has all activated abilities of all cards you own in exile with cage counters on them. You may activate each of those abilities only once each turn. Holy crap. The cage counter, they just go in a cage, and if Marisol goes away and comes back, he still sees the cage.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I did not realize that. That's so cool.
And you probably,
I thought we covered that. Yeah. And that makes it work as a commander, because a commander is always going back and forth between the battlefield and the command zone. So if it wasn't written this way, then it would completely lose the association with any card that it had caged up, on some previous turn.
Yeah.
Right.
And we might have mentioned that, and I just forgot in the meantime, because that was, 2 weeks ago. So, who do we get to go first?
Well,
Also, is there a color identity search? There is not.
Wasn't the playable only with these colors filter supposed to be that? Has that ever worked?
Maybe? What is this thing? It's Grixis or red, blue, black? Let's test it. Red. And then, or can we add colorless? Add. Playable only with these colors. Add.
Hey, it works.
Add. Mine's not working.
Oh, it doesn't work. Never mind.
I can't.
Well,
I can't click playable only with these colors.
Maybe you have to add the colors to the filter first and then try that.
Oh, for God's sake!
I
Red.
Try it that way.
I have a card, but do you want me to wait until you're set up?
Yeah, it's not. I just can't click playable with only these colors like at all. Oh wait, I can exclude unselected terms. Yeah, playable with only these colors doesn't actually do anything on mine. That's nice. Thanks, Gatherer.
Yeah.
You're the best.
I think it's been there ever since they first rolled out Gatherer, but I don't think it's ever been clickable.
You know what? Somebody sent us either an email or a tweet or something about another search engine thing for Magic Cards, but now I don't remember what it was.
MagicCards.info?
No, it was a newer one that I'd never heard of before, and I looked at it and I was like, wow, that looks really good.
I don't remember either.
Okay, let's go to Advanced Search and Magic Cards info. Is there a color? Oh, look, these are just checklists. Black, blue, red. Exclude unselected, colorless. Rules text, : Will that work if I just add a colon?
Maybe.
Search? I got 3,000. Oh, your query returned more than 3,000 cards. Yeah, that's probably right.
Remember, it has to be an artifact or a creature.
Your face has to be. Okay, yeah, let's do that.
So you're also getting like every land, or almost every land. Many enchantments. Every planeswalker.
Type, creature, artifact.
I'm going to choose Planeswalker.
Sir.
just to make things complicated.
Just tell me when you're set up.
I mean, I'm just trying to do some searches here. Oh god, Magic Cards, that info only shows 20 per page. Alright, back to Gatherer.
Oh yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, back to Gatherer. Never mind. I'm so sorry, Gatherer, that I ever doubted you. Okay, Brian, what have you got while I'm over here screwing around, failing at life?
All right. Are you gonna keep the list of these as usual?
No, I figured I'd just remember them in my head, and yes, I will
Type
do
them
that.
out by
Your
memory.
sarcasm is wonderful.
Isn't it?
My first entry is probably very straightforward, but I think it's a good building block for the rest of the deck because we really want to be playing Marisol well. We want to protect him as well. So I'm actually going to pick a common, Horror of the Dim, which you're probably going like, what? It's Horror of the Dim. It's a common from Gatecrash. It is a 3/4 horror for 4 and a black, and it has an activated ability. Pay a blue, Horror of the Dim gains hexproof until end of turn. Simple, straightforward, within our color identity, and because it says the name Horror of the Dim in the ability is just basically a stand-in for this card. So when Marisol has that ability, Mike, he also gains pay a blue, this card gains hexproof until end of turn. Correct?
Correct.
All right. Wonderful. So now we've got a way to say, no, Dirk, you can't blow it up.
What is spell the last word of this card?
DIM. Dim.
I do not know this card at all.
You would have only seen it in like Return of Ravnica Black Limited.
Well, seeing as how I made day 2 of a GP with Gatecrash sealed back in my day. Yes.
Wow, I don't even recognize the art. It's really cool art too.
Yeah, it is.
So there you go. So
Also, hey, did you guys know that these days, apparently, if you hit the back button in Gatherer, it doesn't save your criteria anymore?
no, I didn't.
That works differently on different browsers.
Well, it used to work that way in Chrome, and now it does not. Because I said, whoops, I forgot the colon, I hit back, it's all gone.
Ugh.
What if you hit forward? What does that do?
Then it goes back to the search, but when I hit refine search, it comes back to nothing.
Oh,
So thanks, Gatherer. Hey, somebody out there, what's the better one? Magic Cards and Info doesn't show enough. Gatherer has the view of just cards that's brilliant. So if somebody could remind me what that other one is, I will gladly use it forever and ever. Amen.
So, anybody else who wants to go next?
all right. I'll pick one.
Yeah, hurry up. I mean, what?
If you want to try to get Marisol going with some crazy combination of activated abilities, it has to have haste. But I wanted a source of haste that'll be easy to protect. So let's also put that in a cage. So Crimson Mage can be put in the cage, and you can use it to give Marisol haste. So for 1 and a red, it's a 2/1 human shaman, and its ability is pay a red. Target creature you control gains haste until end of turn.
Nice.
Hmm.
Short, simple, and then you can also use it later to give other things haste as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, if it's on the battlefield. Yeah, Marisol can use it to give other things haste too.
Yeah.
After it has the ability.
right. Because I'm as nice as it would be to load up Marisol with all sorts of nifty abilities, hopefully we'll also get the chance to play other creatures. So giving whatever you play haste can be very, very valuable.
So, quick question.
Yeah.
So, if a card has additional abilities, but they're not activated abilities, they don't count, correct?
He doesn't copy trigger. He doesn't actually become a copy of those cards. So he doesn't gain triggered abilities or anything like that.
Okay. That's too sad.
However, if a creature or artifact card has more than one activated ability, you can use as many of them as you want in a turn. You can only just use each one once.
Okay.
Do you guys know what the Gatherer code is for the tap symbol?
It should just be T.
Well, I can't just put rules text not T.
What about curly brace, T curly brace?
What's a curly brace?
You know what a curly brace is.
It is
Shift bracket.
It's the one. It's on the second row,
And-
down on the far right end.
Okay, let's see if that changes anything.
Should be beside of P.
Oh, I didn't add in all the other stuff again.
Well, I
Did it
have
work?
one. I've got one.
All right, what do you got?
Well, I was going to go with Goblin Sharpshooter, but then the whole thing about untapping doesn't follow. So
Yeah,
the
right.
one I'm going to go with is Crackleburr.
Ah,
Cool.
Nice. So what's it do?
So Crackleburr is 1 and 2 blue-red hybrid. So for 3, it's a 2/2 elemental that's rare. For 2 hybrid blue-red mana, tap 2 untapped red creatures you control. Crackleburr deals 3 damage to target creature or player. For 2 hybrid mana, untap 2 tapped blue creatures you control. Return target creature to its owner's hand.
seems good.
So
And
it has
luckily-
2 activate abilities, and they tap and untap things.
Right. And luckily, to stop this from being broken, you can only activate one of those abilities, or you can activate each of those abilities only once each turn. But yeah, that is a good one to pick, Dirk. I like that a lot. I'm glad we're not just like shouting at like Pili Pala and other obvious things. I like Crackleburr.
Yeah. Well, again, I was looking at Cinder Mage,
Okay?
but a Cinder Pyromancer. But again,
But it
you
doesn't
can't
gain-
untap.
Correct.
Hmm.
Okay? Are you ready yet?
I'm gonna go with something super obvious to buy a turn,
Okay.
and that's gonna be Training Grounds.
Not what I was thinking of, but okay, that works. What does Training Grounds do?
Training Grounds, an enchantment from Rise of the Eldrazi for a single blue. It's pretty neat. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost up to 2 generic mana less to activate. This
Nice.
effect can't reduce the amount of mana an ability costs to activate to less than 1 mana. So if something costs 2 mana and you have out of Training Grounds, it costs 1. It doesn't go to free because that would be busted.
All right. Seems pretty good. Well, for my next entry, I'm actually going to pick a card from the Commander 2000 or 2017 edition because,
Lame.
well, it fits really well. And in fact, I'm pretty sure they're in the same deck. But I think this actually is appropriate because this is a wizard and it has an activated ability. And you're going to hate me when I say this, but Galecaster Colossus.
Hey, you're right. I do hate you.
Because how awesome is it? You know, Galecaster Colossus costs 7. What if he costs 3 less? You know? So Galecaster Colossus for 5 and 2 blue. We just talked about him, but anyway, last week. But he's a 5/6 giant wizard, and he has tap an untapped wizard you control. Return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. So if it's late enough in the game, you can go ahead and just cast the Galecaster Colossus. And then because he's a wizard and Marisol is a wizard, he kind of gives the ability to Marisol already. But if you need him to be in the cage and he's still in your deck, just throw him in the cage when you play Marisol or if you blink Marisol. And because the way the ability is worded, you don't even need to have haste to use this ability. You just go ahead and tap Marisol or another wizard you control to bounce something like, I don't know, the thing that's going to kill you. So, and it doesn't help us reset Marisol at all because you can't bounce him or something else you control, but it can kind of keep you alive, or it can keep the opponent from developing so much that it's going to be a problem for you. So yeah, I wanted to shy away from doing too much stuff, but this feels like a very natural fit. So Galecaster Colossus.
Seems good.
Okay.
My next, I forgot the order.
It's you.
Okay, so I decided this is kind of like an actually useful pick, but it's also a flavor pick. I would put Varl's Cage in the deck
Ah,
easily. So this represents the cage that Lordith was trapped in while Marisol was pretending to be the big boss. It's an artifact. It costs 4. And it has an activated ability. Pay 3. Target creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step.
Nice.
So since you can activate the abilities only once each turn, that means you can also do it during your opponent's turn. So if there are multiple things you want to tap down, you can just activate it on separate turns going around the table. That can get expensive, but with stuff like training grounds and maybe something else that someone will mention later, you can make these abilities cheaper.
Barrel's cage. You're so cute. All right, Dirk, that means it's you.
Oh, sorry, I had muted myself. I was getting ready to talk and everything. Okay, so for me, next one I had looked at and thought would be interesting is that for the most part, the commander deck that this is coming with and sort of the ones we've been picking are all wizards.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought Force or Face of the Past, so that you can. Let me go back and find it real quick. There was one I had caught. Let me write one thing down real quick.
Past.
Faces of the Past.
What is Faces of the Past?
It's from Scourge 2.
It's pretty cool.
Love Scourge.
Yeah, it's where is your face of the past?
It's in the past.
It's gone. It's never coming back.
All right, Faces of the Past for 2 and a blue. It's a rare Scourge enchantment. When a creature dies, tap all untapped creatures that share a creature type with it, or untap all tapped creatures that share a creature type with it.
Well, that's really weird.
That could get crazy.
Mm-hmm. Because that means that any tapped abilities again, our commander can only do the activated abilities once. However, if there's a whole bunch of things that he's got, then if they're tap abilities, he can be untapped and choose a different one and tap to use that activated ability. So it does give him a little versatility in that he can say, okay, I'm going to do all this crazy shenanigan stuff. I'm tapped. Okay. This creature dies and whatnot. All right, it shares. It's a wizard, so now all my stuff comes untapped, and I can either do some more shenanigans, or now I have blockers, or pick your poison.
Muy interesante.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, there.
Hello.
Okay. Was that just me or was that everybody?
I don't know.
guess
Did
it was
anyone
just
hear
you.
me say muy interesante?
Yes.
I did.
Oh, okay.
No.
It was just you, Brian.
Okay. So, what's Faces? Never mind. You probably already told everybody, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait.
Okay,
You
I'll
been
look
going
a
that
while
long?
ago.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. You didn't actually fall off the call.
I said I sent a message and apparently it didn't go through. So Dirk said Faces of the Past, which sounds awesome, and I'll look it up really quickly. But was it? Oh, this card. Yeah, I saw the art. Oh, Dirk, you're. Oh, I don't know what to say about you. Okay, but I'm glad
That was the response by the other two was, oh, that's going to make the game very interesting.
Had Chewy then thrown out his choice yet?
No, not yet.
Okay,
Make it so.
You're not bossing me.
I am. Make it so.
Oh. I'm having a hard this is such a big thing that I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Well, you
trying
can
to
always
find
just choose something that you think would work well with it that doesn't necessarily have to be something that he cages,
I'm trying to think of something that is either like an artifact with a neat ability that we wouldn't think of normally,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, but it's just not.
I found an artifact that I do not want to say. We'll see if anyone else brings it up later.
Huh. So wait a minute, we're gonna have artifacts in this deck, right? Because that's a thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Are you about to say the card that I've been thinking of for a while? You probably are, aren't you?
I mean, I doubt it, unless you were thinking of Cogwork Assembler.
No, I wasn't. What's Cogworth Assembler? Cogsworth.
Cogsworth's Assembly is where everyone gets together and sings "Be Our Guest."
Yes, I love this card already.
Cogwork Assembler for 3 mana is an uncommon artifact creature, assembly worker. From what is that? The second one, Ether Revolt. That says pay 7, create a token that's a copy of target artifact. That token gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step.
I can dig that.
That's cool.
It seems like it could be entertaining. Now I have to remember to write that. Cogwork Assembler. Yay.
All right. You did not pick the card I was thinking of. I was trying to think of what I was also thinking of. Okay, I've put out a couple creatures. What's an artifact I think would be really interesting? Not just powerful, but have kind of a unique effect. Mike. A while ago, they changed the rules in regard to tucking effects, correct?
Correct.
So, if I had an effect that would shuffle my commander back into my library, even if I control that effect, I may replace it by putting the commander back into the command zone. Is that correct?
Correct.
And if I... Okay, great. Then I think I want to do this then. Elixir of Immortality.
You are a bastard.
That's funny.
Because we want to put more things in the cage, and this is a way to get more things in the cage, but the elixir will always be in the cage once it's in there. So this should probably be one of the first things you target. So Elixir of Immortality costs 1 for an artifact. Pay 2 and tap it. You gain 5 life. Shuffle Elixir of Immortality and your graveyard into their owner's library. So that's a thing. It's a way to keep yourself from getting milled out. It's a way to gain a little bit of life. And if Marisol is the one doing this, instead of shuffling them into your library, you just say, okay, he's going to go to the command zone. Now, yes, he's going to cost 2 more to play next time. So before you go crazy with this, keep in mind how much mana you can produce. But it is going to be a way to start building up your cages. And you can always just respond to a Wrath of God with, well, he'll just elixir himself, which maybe that'll be a thing now. So, Elixir of Immortality.
Yep, you're a monster.
Thank you. Hey, I could have said something ridiculous, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
Thankfully, the card that I did not want to say turns out it's banned in Commander, so that won't be a problem.
Which
Ooh,
one
what
was
was
that?
Time Vault.
Oh,
I was going to say Magistrate's Scepter.
you're going to say what?
Magistrate's Scepter, but I
Oh.
decided not to.
That'd be funny too.
You have a different version of funny than I do, but go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so here's a card with a bunch of activated abilities that I just think is funny. Mist Dragon.
Oh,
For 4 and 2 blue, it's a 4/4 dragon. And it has 3 abilities. The first one is 0. Mist Dragon gains flying.
always useful.
Yeah. The second one is 0. Mist Dragon loses flying.
Yeah.
And the third one is 3 and 2 blue. Mist Dragon phases out.
Yep, you're a monster.
And remember, phasing in and out doesn't cause the thing to exit or enter the battlefield. The game just kind of forgets it's there while it's phased out. So you won't get another trigger when Marisol phases back in, but it'll be protected from like literally everything.
Mm.
I think I hate you.
Derek?
All right. So for me, there's one I saw and I kind of laughed to myself and thought this would just probably be very funny and just we'll see what happens with it. It sort of takes it in a different direction in my head. Nax saw click.
Ha! 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 Oh, Derek.
hmm
What? I don't know that one.
Okay, Naxaw Click for 3 and a blue. It's a fairy rogue that's a rare from Shadowmoor. It has flying for 1 and a blue and untap. Target opponent exiles the top card of his or her library. Until end of turn, you may play that card.
Huh.
So once again, we have we have an untap ability that untaps him in case there are other abilities we have that tap him for whatever reason, and in doing so, it opens him up to potentially play something from an opponent's graveyard or opponent's library.
True, and since they've changed the rules for Commander, if you're, it is actually possible, depending on how we built the deck, to actually then play those cards, even if they're not in our original Commander's color identity. So, interesting. And they're relatively inexpensive. They cost 4, and they're a 1/4 flyer. So, again, even if you don't put them in a cage, they're useful enough on their own. Sweet.
Question.
Mhm.
Yes.
So, okay, wait. Let me go back to Marisol. Marisol Militia. Oh, hand or graveyard. Oh. Huh, okay. That's unexpected.
Oh, you know what? I was actually thinking it was from your library. So, see, that's what I get for RTFC. RTFC.
That would be insane.
That would be insane.
This is probably much safer, yes.
Is there... Because I think I'm gonna... okay, I'm saying Buried Alive. Just
Okay.
as a way to put stuff in your graveyard that you want to grab with Marisol. If not
choice.
Buried Alive, then since it's just one every time Marisol enters the battlefield, then what's the one that does in Tomb?
Tomb.
Well, that seems kind of boring. Is there a Buried Alive style card for artifacts?
I don't think so.
I don't think there is. The only other cards I can think of that you can go through your library and pick things out. There's one that you do that for flashback cards, and the rest I can think of, they exile the cards. They don't put them into the graveyard.
Yeah, that's what I keep running into in my head.
Quiet
here.
speculation. Yeah, there's quiet speculation, and then a bunch of cards that exile stuff.
So, Buried Alive?
Yeah, just because I want to be able to cast Marisol. Face not working. Marisol costs 4, right?
It does cost 4. So a turn 3 Buried Alive or turn 2 off a Soul Ring sets up the next turn Marisol very well.
Yeah.
I like it.
Why, thank you.
Well, just to go along with that then, here's another creature with a mana-less tap ability that I think we all like. It's the one, the only Kamal, Pit Fighter.
Ooh.
For 4 and 2 red, because red is in our color identity. He is a 6/1 human barbarian with haste, and he has tap, lightning bolt. So, straight up. He's not a wizard, but you know what? He'll do.
And a thumping good night wager.
And I kind of like the thought that, once again, I know I've said this a couple times, but I want to emphasize, you're not going to have everything in a cage. He's perfectly playable on his own. But if he was in a cage with, like, the Naxaw click, then they go super well together.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, so speaking of playable stuff, you don't just want to be constantly picking things out of your hand or graveyard just to put them in the cage. You also want to play these cards that are in your deck. But maybe later, you do want to put them in the cage, but they're still in the battlefield.
Yes.
So there's 2 cards I thought of. I'm going to go with the sillier one.
Of course.
And I'm going to suggest Despotic Scepter.
Not the Crystal Shard.
What?
Not Crystal Shard.
Crystal Shard.
To put it in your hand so you can grab it.
To put it in your
with
hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're right.
What's Despotic Scepter do?
Despotic Scepter, it's an artifact. It costs 1 mana. It has 1 activated ability. Tap. Destroy target permanent you own. It can't be regenerated.
I'm sorry.
It's also nice in those situations where someone tries to steal something from you.
Yes. I'm going to take that. Well, I've destroyed.
InQuest magazine a million years ago put it in a deck to kill a hungry Lord of the Pit so that the Lord of the Pit didn't kill you. And ever since then, I have loved the idea of Despotic Scepter.
Yeah, basically that's its main functions are to kill things people have stolen from you, and as an outlet for black to destroy the cards whose downside is about to turn around and start eating your head.
That's a good one. Hey, Dirk. I think you're muted. Oh, there you are.
No, I'm trying to find one that a blue, red. It's got to be blue. Blue's the only one that would do what I'm looking for. So the whole thing that when we talked about Marisol is that he says when he enters the battlefield, you may exile and do all his shenanigans. That means that there needs to be something that's played that blinks him out and brings him back.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing a search for. And I'm digging through cards and I'm reading them up. And unfortunately, the only one that I know that does it is a green card. Where
There are blue cards that do that.
And so that's sort of what I'm digging through right now, is to see if I can find something that does it. Unfortunately, Gatherer, when you type in the trying to find a word or something that says that, because unfortunately blink is not an ability that per se, because that would be amazing if blinking was what it was called. But
try searching for.
Well, I found one.
Exile, return, battlefield. Those words.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
Exile, return to battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did return to the battlefield. Exile, return to battlefield.
You're gonna find a lot of white ones, but there are blue ones that do this.
Yeah, so I put in the colored ones because I saw one that did it, and unfortunately, when I typed it in, that made my thing go away.
I hate it when my thing goes away.
You're also gonna get a bunch of irrelevant ones just because they happen to use some of those words in like reminder text or something. But you'll find what you're looking for.
So Ghostly Flicker does that.
That's right.
Well, I think that'll probably be what I want to include in this. That'll be my one thing to sort of add because I'd like to do something that's like an enchantment, something a little more permanent that gives him the ability to do that. But I'll go with Ghostly Flicker.
Isn't there they're probably only white ones that can blink themselves with an activated ability?
Themselves? Aetherling.
Wait, really?
Yeah. That's that's like Etherling's main thing. That's why it's freaking impossible to kill.
Oh, I was thinking of hell yeah. I was thinking of a different one.
He's not on here. Unless he's always at the very beginning. Aetherling, nope, you're right. Exile until it's under control at the beginning. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll just switch that one in then.
Yeah, put in Aetherling.
And when it does that, those let me see if I'm doing this right. Is there a note on? Oh my God, Marisol has so many rulings notes.
Yup.
Let's see here. Keep going. I'll look for what I'm looking for.
Ow. Fair enough. I don't know. Again, I'm trying to find stuff that's not just, hey, this is a cool ability. Let's give it to Marisol. Try to make a thing that actually works. The problem is there are too many cards.
Well, he's got such a great ability that you can really go in many directions. And I think each one of us has sort of found something that we think that he can do that he can really abuse and make him really nasty.
But at the same time, you still want to like do something that's gonna be nifty and it's gonna be fun, but you still have to win the game. Yeah. Because if you're sitting at the table and you're just like, look at all this neat stuff you can do, everybody else is gonna be like, that's awesome. Kill you now.
Grumble.
Yeah, this whole time I've been over here trying desperately to find something that does something that makes any sense other than, stuff that you'd want. Oh wait, I had one. Oh crap. It was a new one. It was a new card.
Okay.
Oh, come on. What was it? It was blah, 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 blah. Oh, it was new Tigum. Duh.
Oh.
I knew I had something. I just didn't write it down. Hang on. What's he called? Sidisi's hand? Yeah. He
Yes.
fits. He slots right in. For 3 and a blue and a black, he's the 3/4 human wizard. You skip your draw step, which kind of sucks. At the beginning of your upkeep, you look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 1 in your hand and the rest into your graveyard to give Marisol things to eat. And then, of course, he has the activated ability, which I didn't even think about. Pay a black and tap and exile X cards from your graveyard to give target creature -X/-X until end of turn.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find a way to actually turn Marisol on rather than just, hey, if we ever find these cards, that'll be neat. I want to get a way to find the cards faster.
Yeah. And I know that in a final version of the deck, there'll be plenty more of those.
Yeah.
All right.
Brian took a new card that's already in the deck with it, so did I.
Yep. Okay, my next card is Fathom Feeder. Because I was trying to think of something that would eventually get us to where we want to win the game. And maybe we're winning through damage, and maybe we're doing a little bit of a milling thing sort of kind of going on. Not sure, but we want to be versatile. So for a blue and a black, it is a 1/1 Eldrazi drone. It is a rare from Battle for Zendikar. It is Devoid and Death Touch and Ingest, which are all nifty. The real kicker here, well, it doesn't have a kicker, but the real thing to look for here is it does have an activated ability for 3 a blue and a black, or 1 a blue and a black if you have Training Grounds out. But for 3 a blue and a black, draw a card. Each opponent exiles the top card of his or her library. So it's going to be a while before you can get there. But I was trying to find something that was each opponent that wouldn't also be milling you. And technically everybody's down a card because you're also drawing it. But at least you can use yours. So I figured it was something to think about.
That's weird.
Yep. You're welcome.
But
All right. Like Chewy was saying earlier, we've got to find ways to get cards into our hand or into the graveyard to make Marisol work. But while we're doing that, let's make use of them if we don't necessarily have Marisol online. So we should probably have Necrotic Ooze in the deck as well.
Oh, damn it.
That's a good one.
Was that going to be your next one, Chewy?
It was on my short list of things if I can't come up with something to say, like Training Grounds.
So for 2 black, it's a 4/3 ooze. And as long as Necrotic Ooze is on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all creature cards and all graveyards. All graveyards.
Nice.
When the heck did it grow that word?
Apparently last
2 weeks
night,
ago.
I thought it was just your graveyard. Wow.
It entered puberty and,
That's even
started
sillier than I
throwing
thought.
words in strange places. So,
Yeah. Huh.
Nice. Necrotic Ooze is a really fun card. So, Dirkus
Okay.
Maximus?
I actually don't know if anyone has said this one while I was searching, but Morphling.
No one said that while you were
Always a
searching.
good one.
Some
Freaks.
Morphling.
Classic Fling. Interesting because here you're only going to be able to activate each of those abilities once, but it has a lot of abilities for you to choose
That's a
from.
lot of them.
Hello.
Sorry about that. Keep going.
All right. No, I swear there's a word called Morphling.
Yes, we know. It's a very
No,
famous
that's what I'm
card.
telling Gatherer. I was like, go back to it, Gatherer. And Gatherer's like, no, I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
never heard of this card.
Morphling. All right. Yeah, that one. Okay. Morphling for 3 and 2 blue. He is a mythic Vintage Masters one, although it was in Urza's something or other. Urza's Saga. So
There's just something or other.
Urza's something. It's the Urza's gear.
Here's
Is
a
what the symbol
sweatpants.
looks like. So anyway, for a blue, untap Morphling. For a blue, Morphling gains flying until end of turn. For a blue, Morphling gains Shroud until end of turn. For 1, Morphling gets +1, net -1. And for 1, Morphling gets -1, +1 until end of turn.
D-
What it said.
Voicemail.
So as Brian said, Morphling doesn't have, like, this is the greatest ability ever and everything, but it's the fact that Morphling can do a lot of things. Particularly the ones that I think are the most useful are the first three. Because once again, there's an untap ability. So if you cage a Morphling, you're going to be able to untap it. You're going to give it flying, so it's got evasion. And one of the more important things is that it has Shroud, so that means no matter what you try to do to our commander, you're not going to be able to pokey him from afar.
Maybe.
Marcel will have both evasion and he will have an ability to hide from you. For a grand total of 2 blue mana. Making him incredibly annoying.
Seems good.
Yeah. I like it.
All right, well, I haven't really done it yet. How about a big, stupid, crazy activated ability?
Sure.
All right.
How about the Soul of New Phyrexia?
How about it?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's an artifact and a creature. So
For 6 mana, it's an artifact creature avatar from M15. That's a 6/6 with trample. And it has 2 activated abilities, one of which won't matter. For 5 mana, permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Hey! And for 5 mana and exile the Soul of New Phyrexia from your graveyard, same thing. Permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn.
nice.
Now I'm curious if there's an activated indestructibility.
There are. It's been on some black creatures. Usually got to sacrifice stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like
It's been on
There's-
some.
there's
There's
something
one
Kaladesh.
Eitherborn. I can't remember his name right now.
yeah. It was
Wait.
pay 1 and sack an artifact, or just straight up sack
Do
an
you
artifact.
do you gain indestructible or do you have indestructible now? I can never remember which way it was and which way it is.
You gain indestructible. I mean, gain indestructible and have indestructible are the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean,
what it
what's
used to be is that something like you are is indestructible,
Well,
which is different.
the question is more, what would that say in Oracle text now? Would it gain indestructible or would
Gain
it?
indestructible.
Okay.
Game. Yeah.
Or
All
gains.
right. Let's search for gains indestructible until end of turn. Okay. Sorry, I'm just gonna do this while you guys go to. What was that? Soul of New Phyrexia. There we go. So one more round, you think?
Sure.
Mhm.
One more
We've-
round.
We've done 2, 3, 4, 5. We've done 5 rounds now.
That's probably a good amount. So okay. So for the last round, I'm thinking, all right, at this point we've talked about several creatures, and all of them except for Marcel are either going to end up in a cage or they're going to go on the battlefield and they might die by a sweeper, or maybe they got there due to oversold cemetery and we haven't caged them all. So why don't we go ahead and do? Or did I say buried alive? They got there thanks to buried alive.
Sure.
I thought maybe I had gone ahead and said the name of my card, but Oversold Cemetery.
Heh.
Just as a way to constantly recur creatures. Okay, you keep killing Kamal, for example. Maybe I'm not ready to put him in a cage yet. He's doing good work, so let me just keep getting him back. For 1 in a black, it's an enchantment. Beginning of your upkeep, if you have 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So, doesn't discount the cost to play them or anything like that, but it's a nifty way to just keep getting them back. It has never been reprinted. It is so useful, and it's never been reprinted. That's interesting.
That does seem
That-
a little weird, doesn't it?
But that will be my final submission for this here deck.
Okay. I'll add another engine card to the deck to
No.
get interesting stuff into your hand and into your graveyard. And it's also a wizard, like Dirk was mentioning earlier. Jace's Archivist. For 1 blue, it's a 2/2 Vidalcan wizard, and it has an activated ability. Pay a blue and tap. Each player discards his or her hand, then draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded this way.
That's pretty neat.
What was the name of it again? I was trying to.
Jace's Archivist.
That's right. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
All right. I am doing a search, trying to find. There we go. trying to find my hybrids because you guys remember all the Return to Ravnica and Ravnica, all the hybrid uncommon dudes who had activated abilities.
Yeah.
The guild mages.
The guild mages.
Yep.
So they're the ones that I'm like, let me go and find you.
Now I want to see.
Guild. No, go back. Go back, I say. Guild. Nope. Doesn't want to do, let's do types. Because unfortunately, I'm typing like name, guild mage. No, I don't want to look for that.
That should work.
That should
Under
totally
names?
work. Guild
Yeah.
mage is one word, by the way.
Is it Ravnica block or return? There we go. Hey,
Both
look
of
at that. That's
Both
awesome.
blocks had guild mages.
So, I'm like, there's some good ones. No, the Is It one looks like it would be promising. The Demir one would be... Well, the Demir one actually would be pretty good because target player discards a card. That means it could be you.
Oh, it does say target player, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it's not as important to be able to target yourself with discard since Marisol can pick stuff out of either hand or graveyard.
That is
Right.
true.
So there's that. He's the only good, decent one. I mean, the Is It one is fine, but I don't think he would do well.
Actually, both of them, the old one and the new one.
The Is It one?
Yeah.
Let's see, Return to Ravnica. Guild Mage. Let's see. Yeah, the Demir one isn't bad. Yeah, I actually like the Is It one, the Nivix Guild Mage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the one I would go with.
So what does that one do?
Okay.
So that's so for blue and a red hybrid, for 1 blue-red, draw a card, then discard a card. For 2 blue-red, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the spell. It's that second ability that I think is kind of neat. Because this is sort of the one thing we haven't done much with him is that this is a deck that has wizards, number 1, which means that we could easily put in instant sorcery spells in it, and he gives the ability to, we can do like a big, massive one, and then we can just, make a copy of it and send another copy around. Drop tons of mana into some big effect, and then do another copy of it. Put the top 10 cards of your deck of your library into your graveyard. What's that one?
Glimpse the Unthinkable.
Glimpse the Unthinkable. Think about playing Glimpse the Unthinkable and then making a copy of it. So that for 5, for 5 total mana, and then now sticking it on our commander where he can just be like, yeah, let's do some fun shenanigans.
So I found the type of card that I was looking for
Mm-hmm.
this whole time.
Uh-huh.
The other thing I've been looking for is activated abilities that themselves are awesome, but the card they're on has some flavor of drawback.
Yes.
And I finally found one it's Phyrexian Totem, which for 2 and a black, it becomes a 5/5 black horror artifact creature with trample until end of turn. And that's the end of the activated ability. But it also says whenever Phyrexian Totem is dealt damage, if it's a creature, sacrifice that many permanents, because it's recreating the Phyrexian Negator.
But that's not part of the activated ability.
But it's not part of the activated ability. That's another thing that's written on the card.
Nice.
And that, I don't want that to be the card that goes in this deck, because turning your Marisol into a 5/5 is whatever. But
It's
that's
still
what
cute.
I've been looking for this whole time, and I haven't found anything. I know they exist, but they don't just sit in my brain.
Or they might not be artifacts and creatures. The biggest example of a card like that comes to my mind when you say it out loud is Oath of Lim-Dul, but that's an enchantment. That doesn't work.
Oh yeah, see? So I've been sitting here this whole time going, knowing that there are cards like that out there, but they don't. I can't find them in my brain space, and it's killing me because that's what I want in this deck is something where other text on the card negates the effectiveness of an activated ability.
That's sort of how I felt with I want a blink effect, but blink is not the ability that does that. That's not the name of it. It's like, all right, wizards, you need to get on that. The new ability needs to be blink, and it needs to do that. Get on that.
Hurry up.
Hurry up. Because that would make gatherer searches way easier for that ability.
Oh man, I could say Panoptic Mirror, which gives you the ability to remove cards in your hand from the game for no reason.
Gives your deck the ability to not be a legal commander deck.
Well, there's also that, yeah. But ignoring that for a moment, Mike. Like, there are several that I found, like the Sarpadian Empires, volume whatever.
Uh-huh.
I want to know how that works. Because the activated ability says create a 1/1 token of the chosen color and type. But the choose a color and type is on the rest of the card. So I'm so curious as to what happens. Do you just get a colorless, typeless, nameless 1/1 token? Or does it not work because there is no chosen type?
That's a good question.
And it's just me eating up time because I got nothing. Like,
well, there was one that I had looked at. Let me bring it up real quick. But the only thing is that if it were to be in the deck, there would have to be a few other things that make it, that play along with it and give Marisol plus powers, like a attack power. And the one I had looked at was Hate Flare.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because, again, it's really expensive. You really don't want to have to play it, but it would be a great card for him to exile and have that ability. So for what Hate Flare does is he has Wither, which we don't care about, but for 2 and a red and untap, Hate Flare deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. So
that's a good one, yeah.
That one would be great if you could make Marisol's power really high. And it untaps it to once again do other crazy things. But again, there has to be something that, ups his power because he's a what?
4/4.
He's a 4/4, so
that's not nothing.
I mean, that is true. It's not nothing, but I think that would be much better if there were to be something like, fire breathing or something like that you could add to Marisol so that you up his power just a little bit and then you do this. Because, like I said, that was another one I looked at and thought that would be pretty cool. But I think you have to augment it a little bit in order to make it really good. I will say this, Marisol, you can build a punishing deck with him. Just with what we came up with.
And you can build the most dirtly nonsense that looks like something that fell out of Gabe's head.
Yes.
Something that's just like, I'm gonna hide in a hole, but I'm gonna make your life miserable while I hide in this hole.
Yeah, like listeners, Mike, explain what I mean by that real quick. You know Gabe better than everyone else put together.
Yeah, so Gabe is the person who taught me how to play Magic, which is part of the reason why the decks I build tend to be so weird. Because he's the type of person who looks at a card that is in the absolute sense of being a Magic card, looks at a card that is really bad, but it has something about it that's just so odd and unusual that you can use to do interesting things. And he says, that's the card I want to play. That is the card I'm going to win with. And he builds a deck. And it happens. It happens.
Yep.
I have been killed by Aurochs because Gabe has attacked me. I have been terrorized by Norits many, many, many times.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
I have, I've sat at the other end of the table while Gabe jumps in the hole into the glacial chasm, while he's skipping his upkeep, so I can't do anything to him, and he just plink 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 plinks away with with spells. That's the kind of thing that Chewie is talking about.
Yeah. Jumping into a glacial chasm and essentially waiting you to die from the next ice age. That's what that deck does.
Ooh, Dirk, I found a cool power pumping card.
Which one?
It's called Pulsating Illusion.
Ooh.
For 4 and a blue, it's a 0/1 with flying. It's an illusion. But the ability is discard a card. Pulsating Illusion gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Activate this ability only once each turn.
That would be, yeah. So he becomes an 8/8.
Yeah.
When you discard a card, he becomes an 8/8. Does something to tap him, and then pay 2 in a red to untap him, and say, "Hey, here's a fireball. I want you to hold on to this for me." Throws it at you, and it lands on your head and burns your head off.
Yeah. So that's something to look for too, for building a Marisol deck, to find abilities that can only be activated once each turn anyway, so that restriction isn't a true drawback.
But yeah, we between all of us, we came up with a lot of ways you can take this deck. I kind of went around the route of, if we're going to be doing things that tap him, there needs to be things that untap him, or things that blink him and bring him back in so he can cage more things. And everyone else sort of came up with their own thing, dealing with how to abuse his ability.
Oh, did I ever give a last card?
I
don't think I did.
I don't know.
I don't think you did.
Oh, okay. Well, hang on. I found earlier a thing that gave indestructible.
You were talking about things that you wanted to make work and either wouldn't work or...
Yeah, and I never actually got around to rattling something off. So, okay, I want to give it indestructible. So what do you guys think? There's the Syndicate Trafficker, which pay 1 and sack an artifact to put a +1/+1 counter on it and gain indestructible until end of turn.
Ooh.
Or there's Yahenni, who just sack a creature to gain indestructible. Or there's the Aristocrat, who sack a creature to gain indestructible, and if it was a human something better.
Falconwrath Aristocrat?
That's the one.
Then does it also put a +1/+1 counter?
I think if it's a human, you get a +1/+1 counter?
Yes.
So what do you guys think is the best one?
I kind of like Yahenni personally.
I kind of agree, because you can put something in that pumps out creatures that you can sack to gain indestructible.
Yeah, the first one is nice because you also get a +1/+1 counter, but you're not going to have an easy, repeatable supply of artifacts all the time.
Yeah,
Right.
Plus we want to be able to play it in the deck regardless. So yeah, we'll go with Yahenni something, forgot her name. Undying Partisan.
And hey, you sack a artifact, it goes into the graveyard, that's yet another target for caging.
That is true.
So, yeah.
So Yahenni is for 2/2, a 2/2 with haste for 2 and a black, Etherborn Vampire. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on Yahenni Undying Partisan. And you sacrifice another creature, Yahenni gains indestructible until end of turn. So that probably works just fine as a card in the deck that you'd play, plus caging Yahenni to grab the activated ability seems good. So yeah, there you go. This is all over the place. I was literally no help.
You were fine.
And it's because this card is so wide open that you could do freaking anything, and my brain refused to focus. It's like, I don't know, draw cards, untap, God, deal damage.
Somebody reboot Chewie.
I think that means kick me in the teeth, right?
It means give you a new pair of shoes.
Oh, that was terrible, but it was awesome.
Oh my
God. Somebody get this man a pair of boots.
Also, someone kick Mike in the teeth.
New pair of boots in the face.
you got a new pair of boots.
Yay, boots. Okay, so I have an idea.
Yes.
I'm going to read through this real quick because people keep saying, hey, it sucks because you always forget to put up the full list, because I do, because, you know, I'm just one guy. And I don't want to have to listen through the whole episode. So here we go. Here's what we came up with for Marisol the Pretender in our story circle. You ready?
Ready.
The Horror of the Dim from Brian. Mike said Crimson Mage. Dirk Crackleburr. And then I said Training Grounds. So that's the order. Brian, Mike, Dirk, Chewy. Ready? Go. Galecaster Colossus. Barl's Cage. Faces of the Past. Cogwork Assembler. Elixir of Immortality. Mist Dragon. Naxaw Click. That's spelled with a K for those of you that are looking it up. And Buried Alive. Kamal Pitfighter. Despotic Scepter. Etherling. And Tigum Sidisi's Hand. Fathom Feeder, Necrotic Ooze, damn it, Mike, Morphling, and Soul of New Phyrexia. And the last round was Oversold Cemetery, Jace's Archivist, Nivix Guildmage, and Yahini, Undying Partisan. Yay.
Cool.
And I think we threw out additional cards as well that could easily go in that deck and, again, make it even more out to the face, hopefully for your opponent.
If you throw in multiple untap things and get like 2 or 3 different untap abilities on Marisol, then you can use lots of abilities in one go if they all have, you know, the tap symbol.
Yeah.
Like, let's see. Jace's Archivist, Pilipella, Arcanus. What was the thing that untapped that Dirk put a Naxaw Click?
Mm-hmm.
And then Kamal Pitfighter. Just bam, 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 bam. Random nonsense.
You can even give it some tap abilities that make mana.
Yeah, throw that Grim Monolith in there. And when someone inevitably blows it up, just throw it in the cage. Wouldn't that be weird to have a Grim Monolith in a cage? Like, why does Marisol cage artifacts? Just walk up and look at it and be like, you want something to eat? No? Guess it's because you're a statue.
Maybe it's more like putting it in a safe or something.
Oh, yeah, we'll go with
Putting
that.
it in the bank.
Yeah.
In your safe deposit box.
But if you guys can come up with any of those activated abilities where the card itself has the drawback, but the ability doesn't, let me know, because it's killing me. I know they're out there, but I don't know what they are, and it's impossible to search for that. Like, it has to be in my head already.
Does putting a mana vault in a bank vault create some kind of divide by zero problem?
I mean, there was a hole in the sky earlier this week, so maybe someone already did that. Oh my god. So, how about we've done Fuller House cast, we've done Eclipse cast, we've done the mana pool. Let's wrap it up then, shall we?
3 podcasts for the price of 1.
Nice. So how about some final thoughts from somebody?
All right. Well, the guys know what I was going to talk about, so I'll go ahead and get this out of the way. While we always like to share what's going on with their lives, and a lot of times it's a positive thing. Not every time. So, but that doesn't mean it's not important. So, just going to go ahead and go out and say that, unfortunately, this last weekend, I had to take our dog to the vet. This was a dog, Rainy, that these guys know very well. And Carrie had Rainy for 14 years before we were even really going out. And she's been a big part of my life, too. And unfortunately, on this last weekend, when I took the Rainy to the vet, we had to make the decision that it was time to say goodbye to her. And it was a very hard decision. And it's one where it was not very cut and dry. Other animals that we'd had to have put to sleep, it was a little more obvious that they were in pain. Rainy was not very uncomfortable yet, but she was old and she was not getting any better. And the doctor actually thought this was the best thing for her dignity. And earlier that day, she had fallen and couldn't get back up, and then we were very concerned about what happens next time, and is how Sam going to find her, and lots of concerns like that, and a lot of discussion. And so it's been a couple days, and life goes on, and we're doing all right, but it's still, we did lose a family member. So just ask everybody to, if you have a pet, to make sure that you hug them a little bit more, and make sure that you're spending the time with them that you can, because you never know when you're not going to be able to have that time with them anymore. And if not a pet, then someone that's special in your life. And I appreciate you hearing me out. I don't have any fortune cookie, greater meaning to life sort of message, because put very simply, she was a dog, and she was probably the best dog that I've ever had the pleasure of knowing, and we miss her very much. So that's it. You guys knew her really well, so I'm sure you're sad to see her go too. But
yeah, because like you said, Rainey's been part of your family since before your family was even a thing, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. Because how long have you and Carrie been married?
10 years.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Rainey was a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She was a good dog. So we're very sad to see her go. But for the most part, I think we're doing okay.
Well, that's good.
Thanks.
All right, well, for me, you guys missed me when it came to the eclipse and stories.
We did.
Well, you didn't jump in, so I didn't think you had anything to say.
No.
Well, for me, just my quick, for my final thought would be the eclipse story, that unfortunately, whereas everybody else sort of was able to see something, so I was at school with students on Monday during the eclipse. So we actually made shadow boxes out of my moving office boxes, like filing boxes.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
I just put holes in the top of them, and we put aluminum foil over the top and everything, and then we went outside, and lo and behold, there was clouds everywhere in Greensboro. We were able to see a little bit of the eclipse because occasionally the light from the eclipse would be bright enough it would come through the clouds. So we could actually see the eclipse without glasses whatsoever because it was so overcast. And eventually when the sun did come out, the eclipse had been over for like 30, 40 minutes. So the peak eclipse had been over for like 30, 40 minutes. So you were only seeing a little bit of it. But it was not really neat to see that, you could look outside during class and see that it was darker outside. You could feel the breeze. And as they had said about the cicadas, you could hear the insects chirping that would normally you hear at night, and you could hear them doing their chirping thing while we were outside, trying to watch the eclipse. So it was really neat. And I think the last time I had seen the eclipse, I was in 7th grade. I remember it was middle school, and you could look outside and it felt like it was evening. Like it looked like it was evening outside, even though it was like 2:00. You could see the sun on the horizon sort of thing going on. But we weren't anywhere near totality, but it was enough that you can actually see that the horizon looked very weird. And hopefully by the time the next one rolls around, my kids will be old enough that we can all go see the next totality. There's just no way I could have seen it without, with kids and, and being in school. Although the other science teacher, he doesn't have kids, anything of that. So he was able to he took the day off and had a sub, and he went down to, I want to say South Carolina somewhere. He was originally going to go to Tennessee, but I-40 was getting congested and whatnot, so he went to South Carolina and saw totality. And for those of you that are listening who didn't see it, don't know what it sort of looks like, Veritasium did a video where he actually was out there in, I think, Washington or someplace, and he saw it, and he did a video of the whole thing while he was doing it, and it was actually really neat to watch.
Nice.
So like I said, I'm hoping that the next time the totality eclipse comes around, a full solar eclipse, that I'll be able to potentially hop on a train and go to New York or go somewhere that we'll be able to see it. And hopefully it will not be in the middle of school or sometime whenever I cannot normally get away to do and go see something like that. But that is my final thought for all you gentlemen and listeners.
And jerks. I mean, what?
I would never say that.
Out loud.
Out loud.
Out loud.
Uh-huh. All right, then. So who's next?
That'd be Mike.
All right. So let's see. On the trip back from the eclipse area, the trip that took twice as long as it usually would have, I had plenty of spare time to think about things, and I started to wonder about the real value of the like the alternate routes that mapping applications will give you to avoid slowdowns, because there's no way they're getting the same level of information about congestion on the side roads that you get led down to avoid backups and slowdowns on the major roads. And in certain situations, it might actually leave you off in a worse position. And I started to think about that with, the first detour that it gave me. It gave us. One of my cousins was in the car with me. I was giving her a ride back to Greensboro because she just started at UNC Greensboro a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was giving her a ride back. So at one point, we could tell that the interstate was backed up. We were on, I think at this point we were still on US 74. We hadn't gotten back to 40 yet. And suddenly her phone popped in and said, "Hey, I have a route that'll save you about 12 minutes. I was like, "Hey, sure, yeah, 12 minutes is 12 minutes. Why not?" So it starts sending us through like the sticks, capital T, capital S, out around Dillsboro and Silva, way up in the mountains. And the problem is that it was obvious that so many other people had got the same message on their GPS, because as we were, winding down these little side roads, as far as I could see, in front of us and behind us were all these other cars that were doing the same thing. And because all of us were on the road all at the same time, we were going really slow, much slower than we would have if that road was clear. And in the end, it didn't seem like it actually saved us any time at all. It might even have burned time compared to what it told us that it was going to save. And then it happened again. There was a wreck further down on Interstate 40 after Asheville. And it said, "Hey, here's a route that'll save you 20 minutes. And we knew there was a wreck because it was one of those big, lit up highway info signs saying there was a wreck way ahead of us and that a bunch of lanes were closed off. So, okay, we'll do this. So we spend, gosh, who knows how long in this at least mile plus long conga line of cars sneaking through this random residential area out in Black Mountain. And we're just like, this is some crap. I should have just stayed on the interstate and dealt with this. But yeah, like I said, there's no way that the applications are getting the same amount of detailed information about these dinky little side roads that they lead you down to try to save you time. And there might be certain situations where I just need to ignore those and stay on the main route.
I'm guessing she was using Waze.
It was something on her phone. I don't know if it was Google Maps or Apple Maps. It was one of those.
I would still guess Waze. Because I know that the Maps app on the iPhone doesn't say, "Hey, go this way instead." It's like, "Here's your path. Now shut up and go."
That's exactly what the Maps on my iPhone does, on my work phone.
Really?
Sometimes it'll pop up and say, "Hey, I found a faster route. Do you want to take a look at it?"
Weird. Because Bill was using Waze, which Waze actually uses data from everybody using Waze to figure out where the traffic is.
Okay.
And
well, those other people, I mean, if it was doing that and all those other people who took the same side road were using Waze, then it should have then it shouldn't have piled so many of us on there.
Well, I'm sure that it's a, hey, this is faster, and then everybody went that way, and people later didn't get the, hey, this is faster.
Well, there were many people in front of us, so.
Like, we were trucking down the highway, and it was like, get off here. So Bill got over.
Mhm.
This is on the way down. They're like, get off here. So Bill got over, and he glanced down at his phone, and it goes, what are you doing? Don't get off here. Go straight. It's faster. And he went, what? And he got back over and kept going straight. He's like, it changed its mind just before I got off. I was like, that's really weird. He said, there must have been some sort of slowdown up there that it just registered or something. I don't know. It was very strange.
I know it wasn't Waze on her phone. It was either the Google Maps application or the Apple Maps application.
Okay. And on the way back, we hopped off at a place to like grab a drink and pee and whatnot because Bill had been awake since like 4 and he was starting to get tired. He's like, I need caffeine. And when we went to go back, it's like, don't get on the highway. Go this middle of nowhere ass way. And we ended up, the Peach Butt in South Carolina, the big peach thing? Yeah, we ended up on the other side of that before we got back to the highway because I glanced over to the right and I went, y'all ain't gonna believe this. What? Oh, I've never seen this side of it before. And yeah, there was the massive crush of people where that were all taking the same alternate route. And I get the feeling that you say it didn't save us any time. It probably did. Because of all the people sitting not moving on the highway, even with the massive crush of people, it was probably still faster.
I mean, there's no way of knowing at this point.
And I know your gut reaction is to go, no, it wasn't, shut up, you're an idiot, so.
Well, no, my gut reaction is to say, damn it, I don't know.
As someone who drives for a living, there is no faster way. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. There is no faster way. If traffic is bad here and something tells you of another way, way too many people are already going that other way.
Yeah, and when I was talking to my mom later in the week, just catching up with her, she said that she was talking to one of her sisters, and another one of my cousins who was also going back. Eventually, he came to that conclusion later. It's like, no, I'm just gonna stay on the main road because he had the first detour he got ended up being a total bunch of BS. At least it seemed to him in the long run. So when another one was suggested to him, he's like, nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know how we got on this for so long. But anyway. So, is that it for you then, Mike?
Yes.
Excellent. I've also learned over the last several years, especially since I started driving like as a job. So in college, you guys know I was always the guy that drove.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, we're going somewhere too, you're driving. All right. And I've just always been the guy that drives. I'm not entirely sure how that happened, but it has. And now that I drive, as a job, I have found that when I'm not driving, I don't like it. Like at all. Because I'm so used to the one driving and I drive all the time that if I'm not driving, I get anxious. And I love Bill to death, but I thought I was going to die because Bill's driving style is way different than mine. Bill's driving style is run up on someone and then hit the brakes real hard and stop, 2 inches from them. And I'm in the back seat, just my ass is chewing up his back seat. Like I was a bundle of nerves for like 6 hours on the drive back. Okay, not that bad, but anytime we were in heavy traffic, because like traffic would break away and open up and Bill would like gas on it and then they would stop again and he would like, and I'm like, what did you expect? But I love Bill, so I can't be like, let me drive your car so I don't have a heart attack. So yeah, at one point,
and you can't take a nap or anything like that because with the jerk motion, you wouldn't be able to sleep. I tried
so hard, but it wouldn't work. And at one point, Cassandra's like, I'm freezing. I'm like, I'm sweating. She's like, do you want to trade places? I'm like, no, because if I'm sitting in the front seat, I'll die. So yeah, It's a problem. I got better as the night went on, especially once we got out of the super heavy traffic. I didn't even notice that I wasn't driving, but it was rough. Just while we're on personal things, I have not the one driving anxiety apparently. Especially when Bill's driving, because like I said, our driving styles are so vastly different. I just can't. When we stopped at the place so Bill could get caffeine, we also had to feed the car, and Bill was putting gas in the car, and that's when Cassandra was like, "Hey, you want to switch places?" I'm like, "I can't because of this," and she's like, "Well, yeah, it took me a long time to get used to the way he drives, but I know I'm not in any danger because Bill does not routinely run people over." Like, it's not that, like, I'm intellectually aware that I'm perfectly safe, but like the lizard part of my brain is like, "You're gonna die. It was not fun. Anyway, other than that, all of the usual nonsense. You can find us anywhere on the internet that we are. We are the Mana Pool. So Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. YouTube has been causing me problems lately. I think I mentioned this last episode with the ads.
Oh, yeah.
It turns out, I think they're tweaking their automated system, because I had several. Wow, look, they've tweaked it even further. I had several, including Hearthstone videos, which are family friendly for the most part. As family friendly as the podcast is anyway, but like 2 of the last 3 Hearthstone videos I put up had the limited, not suitable for all advertisers thing, and I started to Twitch, and now they don't. Like, they just have ads. So I think they're tweaking their automated system to make it less stupid. Although the history of the Banhammer Part 3 is still marked, but you know, I think they are making changes because things that had that stigma don't anymore. So that's cool. Also, we completely forgot to mention earlier, after our Travis the Cursed episode went up, we made the daily update. So a big thanks to Blake for driving all that traffic to us. The daily Magic update on the Magic website, you know, every day they have it's essentially, how did Bill put it? It's essentially Blake's RSS feed, which makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And then on the 22nd, which was what, Tuesday? Yeah, on Tuesday, we had the Cursed Commander art descriptions, where they showed the full art, which I used to make the thumbnail finally for that episode. They showed the full art and descriptions for the art of the curse cycle with poor Travis. And he is a planeswalker, and each of these takes place on a different plane, which I'm not sure came across so well.
No, and it doesn't look like the, like, for example, on the black one, the Curse of Disturbance, the art description says the setting is Grixis, but that is not Grixis.
Yeah, that's way not Grixis.
Mm-hmm. So most of these look like Fiora, which for some I can remember the city of Poliano, but I can't remember the name of the plane. Fiora. All these look like Fiora and Innistrad to me. But you know, Curse of Opulence, the red one is on Ravnica, like Brian and Chewy, and I think like everyone other than me said.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And then Curse of Bounty is apparently on Tarkir, which is a little hard to tell unless you like look at the pine trees in the background and really think about the way the wolves look. Really hard.
Yeah, unless there's a dragon flying in the background, nah.
Yeah.
Like, there's no dragons on Innistrad, but there isn't, so yeah. But even so, they came across really well, and I feel so bad for poor Travis now, having seen that he is a planeswalker who just can't catch a break.
He's like the Neville of planeswalkers.
Right? He's going to end up hanging off of one of the spires in Ravnica. It's going to be terrible.
Why does it always happen to me?
So thanks to everyone, and I mean everyone, because lots of people after the Travis the Cursed episode went up sent me this, like, did you guys see this? And I didn't, because on Tuesday, I was driving to Forest City where I had lunch with Jack.
Yay.
Yeah. Turns out Jack and his family, Jack LaCroix, former Monday Night Magic co-host, were in Greenville as well. They were at Furman doing the big stadium experience, whereas we were at Cluz's aunt's house, which means we had a real bathroom and air conditioning, and because Cluz's aunt is a sweetheart, food. So I'm pretty sure we won. We were also in a cul-de-sac with only like 6 other neighbors anywhere nearby.
Nice.
So yeah, it was very nice and peaceful. But yeah, I found out that night Jack was also in Greenville. I was like, what? Okay. And then the next day I had a trip to Forest City, which is where Jack lives. So, dude, you want to have lunch? So me and Jack and his wife Tiff had lunch, and it was awesome. Yay. But anyway. So yeah, thanks to everyone who told us that, and all this other stuff, and all the other stuff. Now, over on YouTube, I am working through the Knights of the Frozen Throne solo missions slowly. I've got the last one from the first week just went up for early release people today, so hopefully tomorrow I will record week 2's, because between the Eclipse, so Bill had this idea to beat the traffic to pick me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I talked him down to 6 with Cluz's help. But that means I had to completely alter, like I had to go to bed super late 2 nights before, and then wake up early the day before, so I had no sleep, so that I could force myself to go to sleep on time to get up super early the next day, because I think I said this last week. I'm not the kind of person who can just, I have to go to bed now, boop, and go to sleep. That just doesn't work. I just lay there awake, and my body laughs at me. So I had to force myself into that, which means a good chunk of the end of that day I was sort of hoo-hoo, and then the eclipse happened, so I was gone all day and all night Monday, and then Tuesday I had a long-ass drive, and then at the last minute we decided let's not record Monday Night Magic because literally only GP Denver happened, and whatever. And then Wednesday I had an all-day and all-night drive, or most of the night drive to freaking Fayetteville, where I had to spend an extra 2 hours waiting due to various issues there. So, like, I haven't had time to readjust. Like, losing Monday to the eclipse, it hasn't kicked in yet. Like, I had no idea what day it was for a good chunk of the day today. I was thinking we were recording tomorrow night, which would have been bad had I not shown up for recording. So, yeah, it's been weird, so I've fallen behind. But those will be going up soon. I'm going to record more the park. I think there's only 1 or 2 episodes of the park left. I can put that to bed. Creepy ass game. On Twitch, I've been streaming a lot of Hearthstone, because as much as I love Lucio Ball in Overwatch, it really sucks to do solo. And if I don't have a team playing, then I don't want to play. So I'm playing a lot of Hearthstone. I took my Singleton Death Knight Priest deck up to rank 10 for the first time in several seasons on stream, and have been stuck at rank 10 because I lost to a mill rogue, you guys. At rank 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And apparently it's a day 9 deck. And there was a guy in my chat who was like, yep, you're going to lose. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to lose. It got to the point where there was a Cold Light Oracle and a Shadow Step in his hand, right?
Yeah.
He goes Valera's Death Knight, I don't know what it's called, to give himself stealth.
Oh.
He goes Shadow Blade. This is when we both have no cards left in our library. He goes Shadow Blade to give himself immune this turn. And then goes Cold Light Oracle, Shadow Step, Cold Light Oracle that costs 1, and then uses Valera's thing that just creates a copy of the last thing you played.
Yeah.
And takes me from like 32 to dead while he sits at like 8 because he's immune, so he doesn't take fatigue damage.
That's really intricate.
And I was blown away. And it's another stupid combo deck that all it has to do is not lose, and then it wins. And it drives me up the wall.
That's been my frustration with brawls this week. Have you done any tavern brawls?
I'm not looking forward to this tavern brawl because of that.
My experience was kind of aggravating as well.
I have
Luckily-
played against at least 3 different varieties of don't do anything and then win in 1 turn. And I'm just like, then why am I even playing?
Yeah, why is this a 2-player game if that's your deal? The tavern brawl this week, for anyone, because by the time this goes completely public, that'll be almost over, is all the cards in your hand, their cost is reduced by 1 every turn. So you just build up some sort of ridiculous combo in your hand and then wait.
Yeah.
And then you win. Sounds like a blast. As soon as I saw what it was, I went, luckily I can win my pack by playing with friends now. So I'll just get that during the Brawling with Buddies and won't care. Yay. Yeah. So.
Unfortunately, my current quest is win 5 tavern brawls, and I'm like,
nope, reroll that.
I always reroll those. That's just too
I
much fun.
had another one that was something silly, and I re-rolled into that, so I didn't have a choice. So I had to re-roll it tomorrow.
Yeah, right now I've got one that's like play 1,000,000 Warlock cards, and I'm like, nope. Anyway, this has been Hearthstone Cast right here on the end. What is the name of our Hearthstone podcast? The Mana Crystal. So anyway, like I said when I started this, anywhere you want to find us on the internet, we're the Mana Pool. That includes YouTube and Twitch and Patreon, where you can get stuff early, you can get odds and ends, you can get your name on the insulate in videos, all that good stuff. Go to patreon.com/themanapool, check it out. Every little bit helps. I really do appreciate it. And I get to see these doors. Is it next weekend? Is it next weekend, right? Wait, is it next weekend?
Yes. Not this weekend, the next weekend.
The 2nd, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, sick. So yeah, I get to actually see these dorks, all of them, at once next weekend, where we will probably end up recording some new Commander deck games.
Because between Mike and I, we will have all 4 commanders.
I mean, I think you both have all 4 of them, don't you?
Yeah, I've pre-ordered mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go pick mine up either tomorrow or sometime next week.
Nice.
I haven't pre-ordered them, but they'll probably be there.
I already paid Lucky for mine.
I was saying, if not, then we'll just play with Dirks. Also, I got a message at the end of last week's sounded confused. Yes, in case you missed it, Lucky's has reopened, and Lucky himself is the owner again. So, baller.
That's great. I'd been going there for F&M again a couple months ago, but I kind of fell off after that. I had other stuff start going on, and then I just didn't have any good ideas for a deck I wanted to play.
Just say it. You have a girlfriend now, and then it's over.
Well, yeah, that's the main thing.
It's over. Game over, man. So what's my excuse? Oh. Sorry, Lucky.
You're working.
I just don't play Magic, and yeah, there we go. Sorry, Lucky, I'm working. We'll go with that one. That sounds way less pitiful. So, this has been the Mana Pool number 476. See, it's just not as impressive. It's terrible. Brought to you, as always, by our undying love for each other and Magic. Thank you all so very much for listening, if you're still here for some reason, and go play some Magic.